Today we take a look at one of the best designs of Vegeta. This one comes from s.h.figuarts, as you probably know. This thing is looking real good. And the reason why it's looking real good is because this is the new version of an old figure. It's a re-release. It's not a re-release. This is an updated... No, this is a totally new figure because the bottom half is different. It's all different. I'm stupid. Why are you here? Let's take a look at this Vegeta because there's a lot potentially going on inside this box, but I don't know because I haven't opened it yet. This is the power level 24,000 version. This is after him and Goku fight the first time. This is Planet Namek version of Vegeta, and that means you get shoulder pads and a scouter, and that's why I think this is one of the best designs. It's kind of the in-between Vegeta. He doesn't have the skirt pads. Back of the box, you got some figure shots in action, letting you see what this guy can do. But the coolest way, the best way to find out how this guy looks and what he can do is by opening the box. Yeah, you figured it out. So let's take a look at the Prince of all Saiyans. Once you flip that flap, you're gonna find a nice little surprise on the inside. Not the figure, but the instructions that tell you these are the hands that come in there. You can interchange them. And same thing with the arms. So he does come with cross-arm parts. Cross-arm parts are gonna be unique this time. It's not a One Piece. No, it's Dragon Ball Z, not One Piece. Stupid. Duh. All right, let's take a look. There's something that really irritates me right off the bat already. Like I just barely touched him, and I'm kind of like, I'm super annoyed with something. So let's look at the hands first. You get this hand as a left and right. Looks good. I mean, there's like a little bit of a wash in there, so it's not just a pure white, and that wash is gonna help accentuate the shadows, and then you can't see it so well with the human eye. Then you get a left and right of this hand, which is just a nice fighting stance for Vegeta. There's not a lot in the box here, so that's a little disappointing. No key blasts, which is really frustrating. You get a left and right of this hand, which is how he would do a key blast if he had one in the box. So right now, you have to use your imagination, folks. You get the crossed arms here. Now I said it was it's not that it wasn't a one piece because it does separate according to the side panel. So that way you can plop these arms in without worrying about, you know, trying to break pins or something. So this is a new design where it used to be that you would remove the bicep and then install them. Now you replace the whole thing. So this is very interesting. So pretty nice sculpt. We'll see how it looks when it's put together. Alternate heads in the box. You get this one, which is looking pretty nice. Some good line work to really accentuate his anger. It looks like these lines are maybe kind of new. I don't know. Is that something they did on the previous ones? I can't remember now. And then, of course, as you can see this line around the ear, because you can attach his scouter to any of the head sculpts, which is a cool design, but you do have a cut because of that. And you get this one, which is a very cocky Vegeta. Classic for him to have this grin. And something that I'm noticing with this is that it's the styling, the sculpting of the face really is kind of reminiscent of that era of Dragon Ball, which is Dragon Ball Z, rather. Pretty cool. So it doesn't look like they just took new head sculpts and used an old body or something. So these are a little more accurate. And then you get this one, which is looking pretty sweet. So he's got his angry face on, and of course missing the ear because it's on that other one. But this is cool. This is like the, you could use it in a couple different ways. This could be a shocked face, like he's like shocked, or he could be screaming to shoot some kind of blast, which is probably more ideal for this sculpt. But I like the depth on the mouth and stuff. This is really sweet. And the figure itself looking just as good in the face area. All that line work is really nice. The hair looks really, really good. I love this sculpt on this. And then the scouter, of course, which is making him a bit more unique compared to some of the older, previous releases. So you'd have to go way back on some really old Vegetas to get a hold of a scouter version. But this is really, really nice. And of course, we know that will come out of the peg, but it looks good. You can still see his eye through it, of course. The shoulder pads, this is a unique layout. This is kind of, I don't know what's going on here. Is this a better design? Probably for posing, but it looks like that. You almost have two versions in one if you could pop these things off, and it's on a ball joint, so you definitely could. So you could have a different designed Vegeta. Obviously he never really looked like that. because this is missing whatever. But that should allow us to get a lot more poses out of him, but it does make it a little tricky to try to get it nice and tight against that shoulder, which is interesting. Now, the part that I said was really irritating me, I mean, I like the pads, I like the sculpt here. I wish there was line work around all of this, the pad area, the brown or yellow, whatever you call this. This neck joint, look at that. That is disgusting. How is that the design that they went with? That neck should be recessed down in the body at all times. So even if you're moving things around, that you never have this gap. That is disgusting. Taking one of my favorite versions of my favorite character and really botching it up. So hopefully there's going to be some people out there that will make some new neck joints and we can buy those. This is the kind of stuff where you keep an eye on 5K Toys over on Instagram or follow their website, and you can usually find all of those kind of things being made, alternate head sculpts and things. So obviously if 5K Toys gets a brand to do that, I will share it on the channel, pre-order it myself, and then we'll review it. Now the rest of the figure, it just seems like some similar things. I don't know if there's redesigns here at all, but we've seen this kind of look before. It's all off-white, which is nice, so it doesn't have this like very bright white finish. It's just a little grayish, and I like that. Back of the body looks real good. I think they've done a nice job here to help keep these lines together. So if you're posing him, he doesn't look weird from behind. And all of this seems familiar. So I don't know if there's anything new otherwise. Probably some new toes, since he doesn't have this pattern on the tips of his toes. But overall design, I think, is pretty good. But also this cut seems a little odd. I don't know. This is the kind of figure that you definitely want to have in like a dynamic pose when he's on your shelf. If he came with a stand, that would really fix it, because then you could just have him in a flight pose, but you're gonna have to get a stand somewhere else, unfortunately. Articulation wise, I'm sure it's just as classic as always. Now, I am also noticing that the legs are brighter blue than this and this. So this section is all darker than what the legs are. It's way more noticeable in person than it is on camera. As far as the posing though, yeah, articulation is gonna be basically what we've seen before. However, I'm seeing that even though this crazy cut is going on here in the chest, there's really not any range, which is kind of frustrating. It's like you might as well just had this all one piece, because look at, you barely get some wiggles. He doesn't really have much crunch at all, but I think overall, it's a not great figure. And s.h.figuarts has made some incredible figures, but it's almost to the point, like this, all of this crap, it's almost to the point now where you think somebody like Demoniacal Fit, who has made the best Goku in my opinion, is the way to go. So you need somebody like them to make Vegeta finally. Come on, somebody make Vegeta, a normal version of Vegeta. This is irritating. This is using a TK DIY head sculpt. This body came with it's the Blood Awakening Vegeta, so it's got like a shiny Super Saiyan hair. But if we look at the body of this thing, we can see that there's some changes or some similarities. So his muscles are not as defined as they are on this version, which is probably a little bit more accurate to the show. Like, he wouldn't be as big and beefy back then, but also the styling of the show changed. So I think this is a little bit more accurate for the time period versus this, but this is ultimately a better figure overall. Like, you get a lot more range and stuff with this figure. Like, look at that crunch, it's fantastic. Plus, you don't have any weird neck gaps. It works incredibly well. This is a great, and this is a $35 figure. So this is, again, doesn't come with this head sculpt, and this is more accurate to that early days of Dragon Ball Z, which does, sculpt wise, really pull it off. It looks great. So I do like that, but I hate this neck setup, and it's kind of loose. So it's a serious problem. And there you go. Does it look like the early days of Dragon Ball Z? Kind of. It's kind of got the goofy stretched lines that were not as crisp as later sagas, like the Cell Saga or Androids and stuff. This is definitely on Namek. Still has that kind of early days of animation, but I love that. That pulls a lot of nostalgia. there's really nothing else to say about this guy. I think, honestly, at the end of the day, this is one you could pass on. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The armor is great, but the neck and everything is really, really frustrating me. At the end of the day, I would just be happier with this one, even default Super Saiyan. But because this design for the torso and the neck has made him a superior build. There you have it, folks. This thing that was premium Bandai only, I think, or Big Bad Toy Store, you could pay double the price. So, yeah, it's probably going to end up being expensive because it's not an easy to buy figure these days. And s.h.figuarts just tends to be that way. If you enjoy this review and you want to see something that I really, really loved, it's going to be the demoniacal fit Goku, then click the top link there. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.